So, welcome to Planetary Music Project. I'm Jefferson Glassie, Chief Spiritual Dude of the Planetary Gig Society, and so happy to be here for another one of our great episodes. And this time we have a trio of episodes by our beloved Tara Linhardt. Tara, how you doing?
I am doing just great. And I am so excited to share with you some of the great people that I met down in Southwest Virginia. The Crooked Road of Virginia, if you've never been down there, is amazing. There's so many amazing musicians, so many great people, so many great things to see. And so today I was thinking I could share with everybody my interview with Dylan Locke.
Dylan, yeah. Tell us a little bit about Dylan.
So he is a notable figure in the Floyd music scene. He owns and runs the Floyd Country Store, which is
Hmm.
quite legendary, and also County Sales, which is also quite legendary, and doing a lot of cool things even today to help a lot of musicians. And if you actually want to get hard copy of music, which is starting to become really collector's items, County Sales is going to be the place to look. So I'm really excited for people to find out all sorts of stuff about it and about him.
Yeah, very interesting. But you didn't go down there to Floyd, all the way down there to Floyd, just to talk with him. This
Right.
is we've got a 3-part series for everybody right here.
That's right. That's right. So I hope everyone, if they find this episode, digs in and gets into the other episodes in our Planetary Music Project Floyd series. So we're going to have also Earl White and Andrew Small, who are both quite
Ooh,
important people in traditional music scenes for sure.
very cool. Fiddlin' Earl White. Yeah, this is awesome. Okay, well, can't wait to see it.
Stay tuned.
All
Welcome
right.
to another episode of the Planetary Music Project. Here I am in Floyd, Virginia, and my name's Tara Linhardt. And do you want to introduce yourselves? I know you wear
Sure.
so many hats. I'm not sure which hats to say first.
Yeah, my name's Dylan Locke. I am the co-owner of the Floyd Country Store, which we're sitting upstairs, and also the Handmade Music School and County Sales.
Right, which are all very well known throughout the traditional music scenes of old time and bluegrass and string
Yeah.
band.
Yeah.
So, how did you originally get attracted to traditional musics, and what first pulled you in?
Yeah, well, I've always been attracted to music just in general, and sort of found my way as a musician, and then eventually as I don't know, a producer or an impresario. I guess I got interested in producing my own events. Mostly because I was here in Southwest Virginia, and at the time, in a lot of the Blacksburg and Roanoke music scenes were a bit anemic and not very vibrant. They had been when I first moved here, but they were, things were changing. So things were just evolving away from it being. I think it was the cell phone age that was coming about and changing,
Right.
and so I found myself producing my own events and fell in love with that, and then realized that I had a bit more power or creativity in producing things than I was finding in my own artistic expression as a musician.
Mm-hmm.
I like doing both, but I felt like there was real opportunity for me in being off the stage and helping people get onto the stage and audiences to find the music. So traditional music was a part of that, right? So it wasn't the only thing that I was producing, but it was a big part of it. And as I learned more and more about Southwest Virginia music, I realized traditional music is where it's at. And I just dug deeper and deeper into that over the years, which led to, being a co-owner of the Floyd Country Store and being right at the epicenter of music and dance in Appalachia.
Cool. So you play music. I know you're a bass player. Saw you last night. Sounded great
Thank you.
on stage. And how have you seen? I know both as a musician, but as an event producer. What is special about the traditional music scene that brings community and friendships and brings people together?
Exactly that. I mean, I think that's what makes it so special, is that it's really about community and gathering as opposed to entertainment. I think that's really critical for what I ended up falling the most in love with traditional music, is that its purpose was not about entertaining someone. Its purpose was to sort of celebrate, to celebrate life, to get together and just enjoy the simpler, wonderful things about music making and dancing, and what kind of joy that brings to a community of people.
So I'm just sort of using my own ideas here too, but maybe if I was explaining it to the uninitiated, when you're seeing like rock concerts or big time country music, there's a big separation between the people watching and the people who are performing, right? They don't really hang together, interact together, and I found it pretty magical the way that either on stage, at jams, at events, at fiddlers conventions, that the people, even the best players, are actually just sort of still talking to the fans and the other pickers and the up and coming. I mean, is that sort of what the separation between?
The separation, I think, is, well, let me be clear. I think it's all wonderful. I really do. I think being entertained by music is wonderful. I think music making is the most fascinating thing that humans do together. I just think it's fascinating. I'm forever blown away by an instrument and the physical, everything about it just blows my mind every time I think about it.
It is kind of crazy when you think about, like, we just get things and hit on them and rub on them and smack on them, and these musical sounds come out, and you do it with a lot of other people, and all the smacking and rubbing comes into just this amazing music, which makes other people start moving and shaking their body parts. I mean, as an anthropologist or a scientist, you're like, fascinating phenomenon.
It's magical. I mean, I don't know what else to say about it. So I mean, I think all of it's good. So being entertained by that is fine. I don't have any problems with that. And I think that rock concerts where everyone's feeling it and being entertained and all of it is really wonderful. I just think there's an extra deep connection to the sharing of that space when you have dancers on the dance floor, and I think that's what I fell in love with here at the Floyd Country Store, is that people are sitting being entertained by the dancers who are being driven by the musicians on the stage. So that the dancers are in front and obscuring your view of the band on the stage. So really the dancers are front and center, the musicians are in service to the dance, and the people being entertained are watching all of that happen.
Right.
So to me, it's just another layer of connection and participation.
Right. You can see the symbiotic relationship between dancers and musicians, because I have a person that's played a lot of gigs myself. If I'm playing and there's not a lot of people really grooving, I just kind of start going through the paces, and then people start dancing, and it kind of really eggs you on to play more, and then the dancers get egged on because you're playing harder, and
Totally.
It is. It's fun. You feed
That's
off of each other.
That's why the pandemic was a drag.
Right.
Because I was live
just
streaming
left with
to empty
ourselves.
rooms, and the musicians were like, what's going on here?
It's hard to feed off of that energy that they give you back, the fans and stuff.
Yeah.
Cool.
And it's also, I'll just add one more thought to that, which is, that responsibility, that relationship here in Southwest Virginia is what it's all about here. And again, to my point of it's all good, is there's a lot of the evolution of learning fiddle tunes or banjo tunes that have where there's beautiful articulation in the playing, especially like I think of clawhammer banjo styles that are just beautiful. Whereas in Southwest Virginia, there was a lot of really like driving banjo rhythms. Like the purpose of the banjo was to like really give the dancers a beat. Mm-hmm. And so it's just a slightly different or fairly noticeable difference in a style. But in Southwest Virginia, I feel like a lot of the Southwest Virginia old time bands are in service to dancers first and foremost.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. So that sort of brings me to another idea too, which is another one of the hats that you wear when you wear so many. But how the music's passed on from musician to musician or generation to generation. How has that traditionally been done, and how have you seen that evolve and change, and where do you think that might be heading to?
Yeah, well, I tend to be optimistic about that. I know that there's a lot of concern that there is an intergenerational decline in the participation of young people in what is the music of our parents and grandparents, and I don't see that here in Floyd. I see a lot of young people engaged in traditional music. I see them connecting with it on a deep level in the dance and the playing. And, a lot of parents are, introducing them to it, but there's a very healthy student mentor relationship happening, not only with the Handmade Music School. I mean, it was happening here anyway. I think it's the way it's been happening in Appalachian communities for centuries, And so we just sort of wanted to make sure that the Floyd Country Store's community was healthy and growing and connecting and serving local musicians, giving them opportunities to teach, giving all of our friends that come from all over the place an opportunity to get a little bit of it and learn more about it. So we just sort of decided to put the tools, lay the tools out on the table so people could have easy access to it. But I feel strongly that it's healthy, that it's really vibrant. And as a matter of fact, I mean, I get a little stuck on in our nonprofit work not using the word preserve. I feel like I don't want to use that word. I don't feel like it's like dead and we're putting it on in like a like saline solution or something like that. Like I don't feel that way. I feel like it's really just about pushing it along, gently guiding it to be happening. So yeah, I feel like that is a major part of what this community is all about, and happy to be a part of it and happy to be sort of gently pushing it.
Right, and probably with your role as an event producer, when you make events where people are interacting and they're seeing people dancing and playing music that maybe is traditional in nature, but young people just see it being fun and they want to do it. It's not like you have to preserve something or push it to them. You just show them, look how fun this is, and then they go, I want to do it. I want to do it.
Absolutely. I mean, it's not a hard sell. I mean, it's low hanging fruit, as they say. But I mean, also for me, I worked for about 13 years as a artistic director at a 900-seat performing arts center in Roanoke, and worked with a lot of bands that I felt like were stuck in the music business and being very transactional about their art making and their creative process, because it's hard when you go on tour and you're night after night and you got to get rest and you got to put up barriers to like give me my space so I can go create again for 90 minutes, and it's grueling. So it's not a blaming thing, it's just like an observation that I felt and found in the industry that I don't find here at the Floyd Country Store. Most of the people playing here work a day job and then come play music because that's where they find their joy. Right. So it's a totally different thing. And so my educational background came from wanting to help some of the touring artists get out of that, monotony of just the same, travel to, sound check, show, pack up, travel to, and just over and over and over again. And I felt like their connection with our community when they came here was meaningful to them. Certainly meaningful to the young people who got to hear from Bela Fleck or Abigail Washburn or Oliver Mutakutsi or any of these touring musicians that are amazing people. And if they just share like simple creative process ideology, people are fascinated by it and they're rewarded, and it sort of seeps into their being. And so I found many years ago that I needed to do more than just put artists on stage, sell a ticket. That's also transactional. I needed to create opportunities for community to grow and connect.
Right. So, I mean, I keep hearing you use the word connection and community, which is awesome. So it seems like, I mean, is that one of the things that drew you to this area too? And it seems like a lot of what you're doing, it's all about, there's so many connections being made, friendships being made, people feeling a part of something.
Yeah, I mean, I've been here at the Floyd Country Store. I mean, we were a part of it before my wife and I took it over, but for 7 years we've been here. And we see people come from all over the world and come in, and they're just kind of like, they're just sort of blown away by
Right.
the sense of community and togetherness, and, no real hard conversations or anything like that. We're just really finding a sweet spot, a little oasis,
Right.
And I think they need it. And so my observation is it's an oasis in a desert,
Right.
I think people are kind of like, oh my gosh, like what
Well,
is this? And to me, it's
Yeah.
a simple way of life. It's just simple. It's like small community, one stoplight, everybody knows each other. There's
As people always give directions here by the stoplight.
by the stoplight.
Yeah,
You're
it's
gonna
just
go
south
left,
of the stoplight. Or it's
straight,
just
or
past
right.
the stoplight, yes. And I agree with you that, I've lived in a lot of different places, and especially more the urban places, people don't necessarily just strike up a conversation with anyone sitting next to them. But, when I've been at the Floyd Country Store, for instance, or other places in this area, you sit down next to someone, they're likely going to say, hi, what's your name? And you'll
Yeah.
end up talking to them, which is great. And I
Yeah.
think that maybe, this region of the world, Southwest Virginia, the Crooked Road, the whole, but also even within the old time bluegrass string band worlds, even within different places, it's that, I don't know, like you said, the word simple, but I don't know if it's simple or just friendly. There's just a friendliness to it all.
Yeah, and that goes. I mean, all of this has. There's always a.
There's
good,
so many ways
there's so
to
many
look at
angles
it.
to it.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I do appreciate sort of the directness of my friends from up north. They're very clear. They might not strike up a friendly conversation, but they're very clear in their communication. And down here, you might get a little bit of a runaround that's sort of like masqueraded as nicety, and but most of it is, I think I like the soft, nice, gentle, bless your heart,
Well,
sort of
it was
nature
fun.
of
We were downstairs last night watching some music, and I ended up, of course, I'm prone to that anyway. I'm from a small town, but everyone sitting near me, we all knew each other within half an hour.
Yeah.
And we were all saying,
Yeah.
what is that guy doing? Like
Yeah.
everyone's talking to each other.
Totally. Yeah.
And dancing with each other, asking people to dance. So I think that's just great if, someone can show up and not know anyone and then get people to talk to them and dance with them or whatever. It's a beautiful thing, and hopefully we'll get more and more of that, as, certain places and people are discovering traditional musics or discovering that that's normal someplace. They'll take that home with them maybe, and...
Yeah, well, I think, we've, I appreciate you doing projects like what you've done. I think that we've missed the opportunity to really help our young people growing up through public school or whatever, what our cultural identity is in America, Like, I mean, there's just so many beautiful things about our creative process and our cultures, whether it be country music, jazz music, blues, all of this is America has really wonderful cultural assets and exports that the world loves. And I think that, it's good stuff. And I think that, a lot of times people don't know that old time music is so foundational to a lot of the modern music that they like. So they're not really sort of peeling the layers back and finding out like the Carter family, or
Right, they're not
or
going deeper catalog.
yeah. And things like Ken Burns' country music series, does a lot of good because people are like, oh wow, I didn't know.
And then they maybe dig a little further.
And then they come to a place like the country store, and then they go like, I love this. I love this. Where's this been all my life? And so I think that, we are definitely in a moment of discovery. And I think humans are also really starting to want experiences more than they want material things.
I think so. I know I really value the experiences and friendships and memories and doing things that give you those, because you can get stuff and you have to store the stuff and you have to move the stuff.
And the stuff breaks.
The stuff breaks. The stuff rots. The stuff goes bad. And
Yeah.
if it's computer stuff, it's archaic within a few years. It's dinosaurs,
Yeah.
But yeah, I love what you're saying, and I love what you're doing. I love, the sense of community and the sharing and the education here is just great. Is there anything else that, before we wrap it up here, that you would like to have people have as a takeaway or know about some of the stuff that's going on in Floyd, or that you've been doing here?
I mean, probably we haven't talked a lot about county sales, but
Oh,
that's
right, of
something
course.
that I took over a few years ago. And I just want to bring it up because I think that in the spirit of connecting
Absolutely.
dots, county's been a really important resource for musicians and music lovers for 55 years or, something like that. And even though people don't buy music anymore, in a general,
A lot of people,
I think that it still continues to be an important resource for the music community and music loving community, and we are going to expand that over the next few years so that Floyd Country Store, you can come and dance on the dance floor. We've got great food, really interesting products on the shelves that are locally made and stuff like that. And then you can learn how to play an instrument or sing or dance, and then you can take the music home with you through county sales. So it's really, speaking of experience, we're really trying to think about a full, sort of 360 degree sort of all-encompassing experience that you can also enjoy from your home, whether you're here or at your home across the world.
Right.
Then we can sort of be providing. So we're working on reissues. We're working on having some of our music and content and resources be delivered out to the world. As much as we want people to come visit us, we want to keep connecting with people.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it can't be overstated, just the fact that musicians are trying to make a living, and it's very hard. And if people just stream music or just steal it off of some internet thing, it makes it much harder for those musicians to continue to provide you music. So, I think it's great that people can actually still find a hard copy of music. And it is a different thing to have, because, you can have your whole, internet library go out, or, you're not connected to your Spotify. You don't.
Well, it's just like the book that you included in your.
A lot of people miss a lot of the information.
I think the people that really want to engage and dig in deep want that sort of thing. And if it's all digital, it just loses its charm, And so I think that we're going to rethink how we reissue and release musical content and archival recordings and things like that, and try and deliver it to the music loving community in a way that you have to have it, like you're just going to want to have it.
Right. Do
you have you need to have it.
You need it. Oh, you don't know. No home is complete without.
Yeah, you got to have that.
Yeah.
So I think we want to change that, and I don't mind saying on camera, on tape, that people should support their musicians in every way they can. And so if you're going to get their music for free on Apple Music or Spotify, figure out another way to support them. Go see them live, buy a ticket.
You could even, a lot of musicians even have like a PayPal me or something set up. So if you've been stealing their music for or whatever, borrowing or
Well,
downloading,
the
you
musicians
can
are putting it out
always
there.
you can always put, like, if you just Google someone's name, they just may have a PayPal me on their account. I mean, it's
Yeah, and
more
I
and
would say every
more.
little bit helps. I think
Yeah.
if you're in the music industry and you're not a huge artist, then
It's hard.
then it's pennies, it's nickels and dimes, and every little bit you can get.
Yeah.
You're scrapping for a living to be a creative
And
force in the world.
I think it's also, like you said, it's hugely important that you're being able to do a reissue, or making some of the older content still available, because if those people are discovering music through some of the new touring, even like rock, Leftover Salmon, Yonder Mountain Bands or whatever, they start digging deeper. They get from David Grisman, or they start digging deeper. They want to be able to find the old content. And if you can't get to Fred Cockrum somehow, or Tommy Jarrell, you're at a huge loss, because you want to, not just those guys, but there's a lot of the old stuff that you can't always find on Spotify.
Yeah, and I mean the musicians are leaving the breadcrumbs. I mean, they're saying these are our inspirations.
Yeah, so
they're
if,
telling their fan base, like, this is the stuff, go find it, and they're not always taking the bait. So I just think
but
that
sometimes
that
it's also hard to find, because I remember when I was first starting to play mandolin, and I had a David Grisman recording, and he said, make sure you check out Tiny Moore and Dave Apollon and Jacob de Bandolim, and I had a horrible time trying to find those guys, but I kept digging till I found them. But that was before the digital age where you could start Googling. But being able to have something like County Sales, it's a way to actually be able to find those older recordings who are the inspiration to the person that you now have as your hero. Who's your hero's heroes.
Yeah.
Go back.
And we're also finding that we're starting to serve the musicians by being we can fulfill their orders for them. So if you're a independent musician that's touring and you're doing 75, 100 dates a year, and people are actually sending you checks in the mail, and you're a band or a single
and
solo
then you have
artist,
to go
and you
home
have to go and
the
package them
mailbox.
up and mail them.
You also have to get home to your supply. I know it is.
So
yeah.
we're starting to be that, provide that service for a lot of people who are like, oh, right, we can send you a box of our CDs, and we can just put on our website, like, go to County Sales, because we're fulfilling orders
awesome
all day long.
Absolutely awesome.
So I think that we're going to just sort of identify and rebrand ourselves to the old time and the traditional music community, and start to see it be not just one of the last standing record stores, but something that starts to continue to be relevant for the musical community.
Traditions keep flowing and evolving. That's what keeps them living traditions.
Yeah, and even if it gets smaller, right? I mean, there's so many industries. I mean, I can still buy phonograph needles. Well, that isn't really a thriving business right now, but there's still companies doing it. So I think that we just have to lower our expectations, be focused on our vision and our mission, and wanting to serve the musical community, and I think things will work out.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. This has been another episode here of the Planetary Music Project, and I'm Tara Linhardt, and I have the honor of sitting here in the beautiful area of Floyd, Virginia here.
Yeah, thanks for
with
coming.
Dylan, and well, I think that's good.
Okay, man, Tara, that was great. I don't know Dylan, but I was really impressed by the things that they're doing there. I mean, what a setup! What a great place.
I know. I think it's just amazing just to remember that you can have one group of people or one person or one venue means so much to so many people. The Floyd Country Store it's a watering hole. It's a music venue. People are learning music down there. There's a school. There's a community. It's just amazing. And so, hopefully this encourages more and more people to say, hey, we could do something like this. We could encourage traditional musics and sharing and make watering holes and have people meet face to face and dance and enjoy music and dance together.
Yeah, it's a fabulous example of a musical community that's been going for a long time and looks like it's got a lot of energy. And I was really impressed by the conversation about County Sales and how they're trying to help musicians, get their music out there, because it's a whole new world for sure. So
It is. It's really hard these days to figure out where to even sell an actual CD or a record anymore. So the fact that there's actually a place you can actually sell real, like with actual covers and actual, you can feel them. That's just phenomenal.
Liner notes.
Yeah, liner notes. You can actually read liner notes. So anyway, definitely check them out. They've got websites, the Floyd Country Store, and also the Crooked Road. I mean, they're a part of this amazing Crooked Road. And if you have never done it, it is a great thing. You can travel along the Crooked Road, just finding little places and venues and music, especially in the summertime and the fiddlers conventions along there. Totally recommend it.
I'm gonna do that, and just want to remind everybody also, Tara has this is a 3-part series, and next time around.
Oh, next time around, we're going to be getting into some fiddling Earl White. So
Yeah.
he is also amazing, legendary, years and years of great history, things he's done, things he's trying to do, things he's hoping to do coming up. So don't miss it.
All right, great. We'll see y'all later. Thanks for joining.
Namaste.
Namaste.